Hi, my name is Jeffro, and this is Digital Dominance, the podcast for service-based small business owners who are ready to seize the recognition and growth that their company deserves. You've worked hard to build a business you're proud of. Now it's time for Digital Domination. Welcome back to Digital Dominance. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome John Dwyer, better known as JD, a true master of direct response and incentive-based marketing. JD's innovative approach has made waves in industries around the globe, and he's the guy who convinced Jerry Seinfeld to come out of retirement for one of the most successful marketing campaigns in banking history. With an impressive client roster that includes Disney, KFC, and other household names, JD has indeed cracked the code on combining creative out-of-the-box thinking with proven direct response tactics. So today, we're diving deep into how service businesses can harness the power of incentive marketing to attract new clients, keep current ones longer, and turn websites into 24/7 sales machines. So whether you're a small business owner or a marketing pro looking to up your game, this episode is going to be packed with proven tactics that you don't want to miss. Welcome to the show, JD.
Jeffro, thank you very much for that wonderful intro, and I love that part where you said he has cracked the code. That's good. I wish that was the case.
Nobody's heard that phrase before either. It's totally new.
Absolutely. It's like the question mark. I invented that years ago. No one's ever used it.
Well, it's a shame that you didn't have much in your background. I had to make up that whole intro, so hopefully people will buy it.
Yeah, well, it's funny, when I'm doing a few of these, podcasts and stuff like that, people say, look, you've squeezed a little bit in. And I said, well, that's because I'm 124 years of age, all right? I've had a long career. I was born in the 1800s.
Well, I have a ton of questions for you based on that intro I made up. So we're going to dive right in. But let's talk about direct response. Now, most people have heard of that. The term gets thrown around a lot. Sometimes people use it too broadly, but for those who are unfamiliar, can you give a 30-second definition?
Yeah, look, it's the opposite from what people think marketing generally is. A lot of people think marketing is getting them to, building a brand and then get them to taste your product. We flip that in direct response marketing. The whole idea is to get them to taste your product so that you can get them to fall in love with your brand. And so therefore, for argument's sake, the easiest way to explain this, if it was a seafood shop and they were advertising on the side of a bus or they were sponsoring the local, football teams, it would take a long time for them to have any measurable response to that. Whereas if they had someone at lunchtime and dinner time outside their seafood shop handing out calamari samples, getting them to taste the product, there's a good chance they'll come in and spend more money on seafoods. It's all about taking eyes off the price and onto the value add. And the value add normally is via an incentive.
I like that. Is there a certain type of business that benefits the most from this approach? Because it's like a retail store, a restaurant versus a service business?
Not pretty much across the board. And, we've got clients A to Z, and no matter what their industry is, if they provide somebody with a Happy Meal toy, there's a pretty good chance they'll stand out from their opposition. And the reason we call it a Happy Meal toy is that's easier for anyone who's in business to sort of just get a picture in their mind. Okay, well, what is this incentive stuff? It's really offering them a reward for buying your product versus someone else's. And you can bet your life that your competitors won't be doing it, because 97% of businesses worldwide have never tried an incentive. Okay, McDonald's have, Kellogg's have. I grew up in an era whereby I was annoying mum to get the cornflakes packet from Kellogg's because of the Flintstones toys. These days, of course, it'd be a different toy. But the thing is that is incentive-based marketing on steroids. Amazon do it. Amazon say that if you join their Prime membership club, you will get free shipping and free movies and free music and all sorts of things. But largely speaking, no business does it. And I know that you tend to sort of focus on service industries. They might give good service, but if they really do want to distinguish themselves from the other person down the road, think about an incentive.
So it sounds like an incentive is something everyone gets when they make the purchase, but I was curious about like the Willy Wonka approach where you could get something extra special. Is that still part of it, or is that just kind of a modified version?
It is, but we've done all the testing, and you buy, you get easily beats you buy, you might win. Okay, so if McDonald's said, look, every 10th Happy Meal has a toy in it, I don't think they'd be still running the Happy Meal promotion 40 years down the track. If Kellogg's said 1 in 6 cereal boxes has a toy in it. And look, you're talking to someone who's run more contests than most. I did all of the big scratch bingo games for Rupert Murdoch's newspapers here in Australia, provided the likes of McDonald's and KFC with the Monopoly style promotion. So therefore I've done every promotion, every contest you could possibly think of. But unless it's $1 million draw, and you can do that, you can get insured prize promotion. So therefore I can get $1 million for any business for 20 grand. Okay. Lloyd's of London basically provide what they call a price insurance. So all those shows on TV that you see, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, that's not the TV network giving that away. That's Lloyd's of London. And so unless you've got a big prize like 100,000 or 250 or 500 or $1 million, don't bother giving away a bag of groceries, because that's not going to do anything for your business. What you want to do is say, look, you use my service or you buy my service this week and I'll give you a free vacation. The only exception to that is, we've got a company here in Australia that just in the last 4 weeks broke records, and it's a car dealership. And we've got a promotion whereby we provide vacation vouchers to businesses for $50. And that gives them 3 to 7 nights vacation in Las Vegas or New York or Orlando or San Diego or down under, right across the world. These hotels are involved in this are happy to give up their rooms for nothing on the basis that, they're going to be empty tonight. So therefore give up some of these rooms, and whoever stays there, they hope will spend money on food and beverage. So we've got a relationship with them where we allow the businesses to actually get vacation vouchers off us worth $1,000 for $50. They then give that away when somebody buys their product or service. So that is a real big happy meal toy, that one, because vacations, of course, appeal to anyone, male, female. Anyway, what happened, this car dealership said, oh, look, we'll get 50 or 100 of these off you, and we'll give them away when someone buys a car. And I said, look, you should book yourself into a mental institution. There's nobody's going to buy a $50,000 or $60,000 car because you give them 3 or 4 nights vacation, right? And he said, well, how do we use them? I said, on a test drive. So in your instance, where it's a gigantic ticket, like $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000, you know that out of every 10, my alarm goes, I was supposed to be getting up at this time. So therefore, you know that if you get 10 test drives, there's every chance that 2 out of 10 would probably buy a car. And he said, yep. I said, good, okay, we'll just give a vacation to everyone who takes a test drive. He got smashed, absolutely smashed. And of course, if his ratio is 2 out of 10, and he does 100 test drives, he's going to make more money than if he did 50.
Got it. So is there a sweet spot with the value of the incentive versus the value of the purchase that you should aim for?
Spot on. The reason McDonald's won, I've done a lot of stuff with McDonald's down under, and the reason that incentive works is because I know the people who produce that out of China. They produce those toys for McDonald's for about 20 cents. But as a parent or grandparent, and I know a lot about buying them because I'm the father of 6 children and they've grown up and left home now. But at one stage, we had 6 under 12, and McDonald's got $7 billion out of us every year because of those damn toys. And so they produced the toys for 20 cents. But those toys, if you went into Kmart or Toys R Us, would be a $4 or $5 toy. So that's the winning formula. The winning formula is low cost, high perceived value. And that's why these accommodation vouchers that we give out to businesses work so well, not only because vacations are universally appealing to any age and, both sexes, but also too because they're valued at $1,000, but the actual business is only buying them off us for $50.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense, because you can use this to attract new customers. And I imagine you could also do this to increase loyalty among existing clients, whether you're upselling them or, renewing a contract, or even when you're going to raise prices on them. If you throw in something like this, they're going to stick around and be happy that you're still in their life. You
got it. And look, the thing is that it's as simple as this. At the end of the day, if there were 2 butchers in town and they were directly opposite each other, the butcher who has the sausage sizzle outside his shop every day and he's got the white chef hat on and he's got the whole theatrics Disney style going with it, he's going to beat the guy across the road. And that's the very basic version of, direct response marketing. He's doing things differently and getting a direct response, because I can tell you, if mum's walking with 2 or 3 kids down the street and she needs to buy, meat for tonight's meal, the kids are not going to let her go across the road to the butcher who's got the door closed and to keep the air conditioning in. It's going to be, mummy, we want a sausage sandwich. And so therefore the guy who's going to be entrepreneurial with a point of difference, he's going to win every time.
Mm-hmm. So does there need to be a direct connection between the type of incentive and the business? Obviously with the butcher, meat, and that's what he sells. It's the same thing. Hotel and a vacation, that's directly connected. But how far, like a car and a vacation is a little separate, but still related. Is there some direct line that has to be in place?
No, in fact, we advise businesses to try and make sure that the incentive, let's call it the Happy Meal toy, is nothing to do with their business. Okay, so we have a retail chain down under, and I was talking to them recently. They're called Sushi Train. And so and you guys would have in the States, and whoever's listening to this anywhere in the world would understand the Sushi Train restaurant model. And when you spend money there, you get points, and you can trade those points for more sushi. And I said to him, look, if you turn that into a movie voucher, not one, because that would be like winning a shoe, but if you gave someone 2 movie vouchers, right, that would double your results. It would double it. So because the thing is that, they're there eating sushi. It's nice to get more sushi, but you can only eat so much sushi. But if you actually gave them a movie pass or a gas voucher, then you'll find that'll double or triple things. And to give you an idea, like how the whole holiday, we call it holidays down under, but the vacation thing came about, where we've got these vouchers to hand out, is a company contacted me, which was a travel company, after I had done the Seinfeld stuff. And they said, listen, you seem to have half a clue with marketing. We've got access to all these hotel rooms around the world. Would you like to join forces? So I said, yes. And that case study with Seinfeld, I'm name dropping, but the thing is that is what taught me, I guess, big time, the benefits of incentives, because that bank was up against the Wells Fargos of Australia. They were called the Greater Building Society, and they got me in as a consultant and said, oh, look, we want to sell more home loans. And when I looked at what they were doing, they were just basically dropping their prices to 6.2% or 6.1%. And guess what? The Wells Fargo would drop their interest rates within 2 seconds. You're never going to beat the 40-ton gorilla. It's like the little corner store thinking that they're going to beat Costco on price. It's not going to happen. And so therefore I said to them, listen, I've been doing some TV commercials for a travel discount company. Why don't we introduce you and you guys give away a vacation with your home loan? And that's what they did. They stopped the honeymoon rate, which every bank does. For the first year you get 1% off. So they just stopped that and gave it to the travel company, which means the promotion was cost neutral. They came on TV and we just said, get a home loan, get a vacation. It was 9 words. And for 3 or 4 years, it went absolutely nuts. We're talking $15 billion worth of extra home loans in the first couple of years. And this idiot who you're talking to didn't do a door deal. Okay. I did a consultancy fee. And then after 4 years, we got Seinfeld to do the ads. So I went backwards and forwards to New York and we got Jerry to be the spokesman. So when Jerry Seinfeld came on and said, get a home loan, get a free vacation, you can imagine what happened.
Yeah. Well, that's impressive. But just how that small difference, because it's psychological, right? It's what drives us. We feel like we're getting something for free. We're way more likely to go with that option. It's just the way we're wired.
Yeah, and by the way, too, the Greater Building Society ran that for 11 years. It wasn't until I left and moved on. I was a consultant, so therefore I would visit them once every week or 10 days. And as it turned out, I decided to move on and concentrate more on small to medium-sized businesses. And when I moved on, they brought a new consultancy in. And guess what that new consultancy did? Because they never like to inherit anybody else's ideas. They stopped the vacation. I had Jerry's manager, a guy called George Shapiro, ring me. And not that Jerry needs the money. He's got more money than God. But he rang me, George Shapiro, said, JD, what's going on? And I said, mate, look, I've left. I've moved on. And they've got a new consultancy, advertising agency, and you know what it's like. And he said, yeah, it wasn't their idea. I said, yep. So they crucified themselves by going back to interest rates. And do you think that they will ever beat the Wells Fargo style bank? Not a chance.
Yeah. What a shame. You have something good. And because that guy, the new consultant, had an ego, right, wanted to prove himself a good choice, he just messed it up for him.
And the thing is that I don't have an ego. If you're watching this on video, this gag will mean nothing if you're listening to this on just audio, but I'm patting myself on the back now. I am so good.
Such a humble guy.
Look, one of my greatest assets is my humility. Yeah.
Yeah. That is something, I know your tongue is firmly placed in your cheek, but this is actually true. And the more you can be authentically humble about things and recognize, I still have a lot to learn, or even if I did XYZ thing, doesn't make me better than the next guy intrinsically somehow. And so just having that perspective of always wanting to learn and grow, you can be grateful for what you've accomplished and proud of it, but it's not the same as getting puffed up by it.
Absolutely. And I've got to say to you, being a baby boomer, the AI thing is even more stunning to us than it would be even to your age group, because, I used to go to school on the horse and cart with my friends, the Waltons family, joking. I'll go back to Bonanza, the TV show, yeah. But this AI stuff is crazy at the moment. And so we've gone heavily down the rabbit hole with that. So we've got robots answering phones for service-based industries these days. Tradies, we've concentrated on tradesmen, because they're out on the road or putting a solar panel on the roof of houses, they can't answer the phone as easily. And they're losing big business because they can't get to the phone. And, these days, if a lady has a bad air conditioner and it's not working on a hot day and she rings and you're an air conditioning guy, you can't answer it, then she just brings somebody else. So the abandonment rate, and we have all these stats because we've been doing it for the last 6 months in particular, but, some electrical services and plumbers, they are having a 30 or 40% abandonment rate because people are just not going to wait on the hold button. And we fixed that in a heartbeat now. Basically, the robot answers every single call, so they have no loss of income through abandonment. And the robot is converting better than a human when The lady rings and says, I want 3 ceiling fans and I want an air conditioner in my third bedroom. Then, of course, the robot has the conversation and then it books in a call. Not only books in a call so that the tradesman can go there and provide a proper quote, but we've got a company that has 10 vans on the road of electrical services. The robot actually schedules the person who's rung up to be with the electrician who happens to be in her area tomorrow at that time. So they've lost all of the travel time now. They've gained all the travel time. It's just crazy. It's just nuts.
Yeah, well, and that's a great example of how AI is helping the world. I know a lot of people are worried about what AI is going to take away, but stuff like this is huge for small businesses. So that's a great example. And since you mentioned AI, I did want to ask you also, because I saw on one of your landing pages, with tools like ChatGPT becoming more common in marketing, you've said there's one vital ingredient that you need to do to get the most out of them. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, look, ChatGPT is fantastic, but it's completely useless if you don't have the big idea, okay? And I know that because we're an ideas company, it's very convenient for me to say that. We had a company before, the company now is theinstituteofwow.com, but my company before this was Dynamic Ideas Company. The acronym for that, DIC, was not the best, so we decided to, I'm joking, I sold that company, so someone else has got the DIC company now, but yeah, so this company is called theinstituteofwow.com, and yeah, I keep on saying to people, look, it's absolutely marvellous, but if your props are not based on a big idea, then you're just going to be wasting a lot of time. You might as well get a jigsaw puzzle and sit there with 1,000 pieces on the dining room table. You've got to have that big idea. And I guess that's where the likes of us come into play. We're not just a functional advertising agency. That most of the stuff we do these days is similar to you. It's going to be digital, but we provide big ideas. And there was one recently. It was a hairdressing salon. I didn't make any money out of this. It was a friend of ours, and she was in a little country town, and she was the only hairdresser in town for the last 25 years. All of a sudden, she's got another hairdresser come to town, sitting opposite her, and she was just, beside herself. And she said, "What do I do? We've lost all of our men." I said, "Why have you lost all your men?" She said, "Well, the lady across the road's opened up the hairdressing salon. She's got men's haircuts for $10. We normally charge men's haircuts for $50 or $60. Women, of course, will pay hundreds of dollars, but men would pay $50 or $60. We've lost them all because they don't care where they get the haircut. They'll go to the butcher, And I said, well, leave it with me. And a couple of days later, we got all the men back. I just put a sandwich board outside her hairdressing salon, which said, we fix $10 haircuts. So it's not about functionality always, although GPT, brings a massive, massive advantage. And of course, all the other guys, it starts with the idea. You got to have the idea.
Yeah. Well, and with a big idea, that might mean something different to a marketer versus somebody else. Because when I hear you say that, I think of Todd Brown and his definition of a big idea, and it has certain qualities that are things it has to meet the criteria before it qualifies as a big idea. So is that kind of what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah. Look, there's lots of morons out there with big ideas. I mean, I have people coming to me, because we are an ideas company, I've got people, insane people coming to me with, ideas, and most of them are ridiculous. They have not put the idea through a pre-qualification process. Direct response marketing and the idea have 5 components. The first one is you've got to highlight their problem, whatever that might be. You've then got to aggravate the problem. So if it was weight loss, the problem would be, oh, look, are you overweight, not feeling good about yourself? You aggravate it by saying summer's around the corner, don't you want to look good? The third thing is provide the solution, come on my weight loss program. The fourth thing is provide proof, which is generally speaking, testimonials. I was overweight, I was unhappy, but now I look like a supermodel. And then number 5 is the strong CTA. And that's where a lot of people fall down. The call to action, it's a weak call to action. You've got to have a strong call to action, and that's where the incentive comes in. Invest in my, weight loss program by Friday at 5:00. So you have a deadline ethic, and you will get a free vacation or whatever it might be.
Right. So that makes sense. And it takes a while to get there, right? And it takes practice. I imagine you get better at it over time the more you do it. But you have to spend time on it. You can't just do the first thing that pops into your head necessarily. You got to make sure it passes muster.
You do, but you know what? There's one at the moment that we have as a package, but anybody watching or listening to this can swipe it and do it themselves. It is so simple. It's a Facebook contest formula. And when you say that a lot of your audience are in the services industries, you are talking, services obviously include accountants and dentists and doctors, of course, but are you talking about plumbers and electricians mainly? Yeah.
All of the above.
Well, here's one that could double their business overnight, as he teases with a drum roll. And it's a really simple thing that we stumbled across about 6 months ago. You'd think that we've been in this for 100 years. I would have come up with this earlier, but I didn't. And we just call it the Facebook contest formula. And it's as simple as this. When I tell this to people, They go, well, that's so simple. Oh, yeah, I know I shouldn't deserve to get any money out of this because it is so simple. But then we put man on the moon in 69. We only put wheels on luggage, airport luggage, in 84. So therefore, we're not, as humans, we're not that smart, seriously. So it's as simple as this. Whatever your product or service is, and let's just say it's lawn mowing, you would actually give a month's or 2 months worth of lawn mowing away as a prize on a Facebook contest. Anyone who enters that contest, obviously, is not in an apartment, okay? They've got a lawn. And the moment that, they enter that contest, and of course they aren't a lead, they're a red hot lead. So you give away one of your prizes, and then you've got 999 other people you can contact to say, look, you didn't win our lawn mowing contest for 2 months, but guess what? We've got this incredible deal. If you actually use our services now for 2 months, we will give you a free vacation. So what we do is that we actually combine the free vacation, which is ridiculous, but they buy for $50, into a purchase of $500 to $1,000. And it doesn't matter whether it's an air conditioner or it can be anything. We had one only 2 weeks ago. He came on board and he just said to me, look, I've got walking frames, for the elderly with the walking frames with wheels on it. He insulted me by offering a contra. I said to him that I hope he dies in his sleep. But anyway, so what we did is we ran a contest on Facebook for him, and basically he was giving away a walking frame. And so we had an older gentleman in a walking frame on the graphic, and it said win a walking frame. And he had 822 leads in the first week. He wouldn't get that in 6 months normally. And so he said to me, look, I'm not going to be able to get to them. My head has exploded. And so we have a robot ringing all those people and saying, look, you didn't win the walking frame, but obviously you're interested in one and you are 104, so it would be good for you. If you actually get in by Friday, we will give you a special deal and you'll also get a special bonus. And the robot is beating the human in conversion rates.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think it's the great thing about a contest is you're getting people to raise their hand and say, oh, yes, I am interested in that thing, even though they wanted the prize, but they're also at the same time identifying themselves as someone interested in the service that you mentioned, because otherwise they wouldn't bother because they're like, oh, I don't need that, whatever. And they move on.
And Jeffro, look, they're not only a lead, they're a red hot lead. The one that we only did one a few weeks ago. They're for a swimming pool slide company, and obviously it's targeted at people with swimming pools. If you put out a letterbox brochure, we put out any other Facebook campaign, there's going to be an element of wastage because whilst Facebook and Instagram and all these platforms, of course, are laser targeted, very difficult for them to tell you who's got a pool and who hasn't in terms of exposure. In this instance, anyone who's going to enter a contest to win a pool slide obviously does not live in an apartment and they've got a pool in their backyard. So he got 1,600 leads in just a matter of weeks, and he's a guy who ran about my vintage, I guess. He said to me, he said, JD, I don't know what we're going to do. He said, our biggest problem is now getting to the 1,600 leads. And of course it is. So therefore he gave away one swimming pool slide, which cost him $1,500. I mean, its retails at $4,000, but he gave it away. And now again, we've got the AI robot phoning everyone who didn't win and offering them a special deal on a pool slide. And if they get in by Friday, guess what? They get a free vacation. So what we do is that we bring the Happy Meal toy into what is quite a brilliant, even though it's simple, it's quite a brilliant leads generation.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to go do my own contest and campaign now and give away vacations because you've made quite a compelling argument for it. I can't see why I shouldn't.
You know what you could do, and because of the skills that you've got in the digital marketing arena, you would give away, let's say, a package of your digital marketing services for 1 month or 2 months or whatever it might be. I've done it myself, where I say, look, who would like to win a month's worth of consultancy with JD? I get a whole bunch of people that glow in the dark, and I give one away, of course. And then the other people are red hot leads for consultancy. You could do exactly the same. Anyone can do this. The only people I suggest should not do it as a funeral parlour. I don't think that would be good to win a free funeral. And then when they don't win, you're ringing them and say, look, you must have relatives who are getting on a little bit.
Well, I mean, this is a business. Any business owner would rather have the problem of too many leads than where do I find leads, right? So this is it's just brilliant. So I love that. And I love all the examples. Now, before we get to the end, though, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about websites and website incentives, because my personal mission is to rid the world of terrible websites. Most business websites are static brochures, but everybody actually wants a website that sells. So let's talk for a minute about how to turn a website into a 24/7 sales machine. And I'm curious to hear how you bring in the incentives in terms of lead magnets and all of that too.
Yeah, Jeffro, thank you for asking me about the website, because as you know, I know everything. So therefore, I'll give you an opinion. If I was listening to this or watching it, I just say, look, I'm not going anywhere near that Aussie guy. His dad jokes are just woeful, you know. Okay, so look, websites should be the same as if you're having a conversation with someone for the first time, and that is that you need to, I mean, I use wit and sarcasm to get attention mostly. It just happens to be my personality, but if you're not built that way by the big guy upstairs, then use whatever you've got as a skill to come up with an Elvis found headline. Okay, so your website right at the very top either has to have a benefit headline, not welcome to Smith's Electrical, which they all do, right? Smith's Electrical voted number one electrical business in Southern California, whatever it might be. Okay, so that is, you've won the Academy Award. Make sure everyone knows that. Just like every restaurant, I've been to, Los Angeles a million times, and every single restaurant has won the Restaurant of the Year award before. So
no one ever checks the year. They don't go back and double check. Like, really, in 2018?
I had a restaurant, was a client, and he says to me, look, we want more people at breakfast time. I said, okay, well, you should have the best coffee in Queensland. I'm in the state of Queensland in Australia. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, let's, he said, how do I say that? I said, I walked out to four ladies who were sitting at the table having their coffee. I said, do you think this is the best coffee in Queensland? And they all said, yes. I said, there you go. It's unanimous, right? So no one's ever going to ask for the sample size. You've just been voted number one coffee in Queensland. So we changed all of his ads to say that, voted number one coffee in Queensland, and it was, right? He had people driving, we're talking 40 minutes away, to his coffee. And guess what? He did have good coffee. So if he had bad coffee, I wouldn't have done. The coffee was fantastic. But yeah, look, the websites have an Elvis found headline or a benefit-driven headline, or have a problem-solution headline. And just as I said before, are you overweight and you're not feeling good about yourself? Summer is just ... Summer is just around the corner. And guess what? We've got the solution. Problem-solution marketing, okay? And then, of course, throughout the website, what you need is a video, what we call an explainer video. And if you think you can get away without a video on your homepage now, then you are insane. You should go and see therapy because, we live in the world of video. For goodness sake, do not have a homepage without some sort of explainer video. And if you don't want to be on it because you're ugly, and let's face it, 80% of the world are, then either get Tom Cruise or just have a voiceover. Okay, but have an explainer video on your website and make sure, of course, it's well produced and well put together. And the other thing that you want, of course, is testimonials, and preferably not written testimonials. We don't believe them. We think you just wrote them and put a name down the bottom of them. Try and have testimonials that are landscape on your page and real people. Okay. And of course, the big thing is have an incentive. Make sure that you've got something on your homepage. I mean, look, when people say how important is the homepage, I said it's the only thing that's important. It's like women's magazines. I used to have a client here in Australia that, produced a lot of women's magazines. If we put George Clooney on the front cover, they sold more magazines, all right? So therefore, the front cover could dictate whether that magazine got sold or not. Your homepage will dictate whether anyone goes surfing through the website.
Well, that's a great summary. And I love how a lot of the other strategies that we talked about map directly to the website. It's just a different medium. You're doing the same stuff, coming up with a big idea, presenting it a certain way, the problem solution, and then incentivizing people to take action on that, whether that's to join your email list or to sign up for a service or a free quote or whatever it is. Just sweeten the pot a little bit and it makes it a lot easier.
As you said, an opt-in, I forgot about the opt-in, of course. And, in the game, we all call it opt-in. But, if you're not in marketing, what we're talking about is a freebie. You give someone a free something so that they will give you their details.
Yeah. And you've illustrated over and over on this conversation just how well that can work. So if you have a good incentive, it pays for itself over and over again. So thanks again for joining me today. JD, I know we're at the end of our time here. I would love to keep chatting though and hear all of your many stories and dad jokes and anything else you've got, but we are out of time. So for those of you at home, JD is living proof that thinking outside the box can have a massive upside for your business. Take this conversation as inspiration to step up your own marketing game. Looks like you got something there you want to share.
I was just going to give a book away, okay? So therefore, when I wrote a book, I had to write a big book because I'm an idiot. So therefore, if you're listening to this, you won't see it. But if you're watching it on video, this is the WOW Manifesto. And it's 300 pages of, just direct response ideas that worked. I didn't put the ones in here that didn't work. And it is, it's a great swipe file. So therefore, if you wanted to swipe ideas, could make a difference in your business, I'm happy to give that away. And you're not going to be surprised at the URL I'm going to give to you to get this. It's called getmorejd.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
And And I bet they're going to get messages from you offering them more vacations and things at some point too.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole idea of getmorejd.com is it's an evil plan. So therefore it's an evil plan for people to get in contact with me. And then of course, surprise, surprise, I might have something that they're interested in.
Exactly. Well, you're practicing what you preach. So
yeah, I've got the little finger out. Evil, Dr. Evil.
All right. One last question before I let you go. If you had one piece of advice you'd give to the service business owners who want to start implementing an incentive-based marketing campaign tomorrow, what would that be?
Yeah, seriously, and I know this again is pointing fingers back to me and it's self-serving, but the Facebook contest formula, do it straight away. If you want help to do it, do you mind if I tell them where to go if they want to help it?
Go for it.
It's fbcontestformula.com. So if you go to FB for Facebook, fbcontestformula.com, just swipe it. You don't need us if you don't want it. I mean, obviously we help people, speed it up. And one guy said to me the other day, look, I went to your website. I decided to do it myself. He was a landscaper. He said, I gave away a $2,000 landscaping prize and I spent $320 in 3 days on Facebook and we got one lead. Any chance you could take it over? I said, yeah, okay. So we're talking about 35-cent leads. So this thing will provide perhaps leads for you for the 30, 40, 50 cents a lead, which means that, you're only spending $30 or $40 a day on Facebook and you get red hot leads. So if you're interested in really ramping things up quickly, hold that contest on Facebook or Instagram, but most likely Facebook, where you give away your product or service as a prize, but you get a bucket load of leads. And yeah, fbcontestformula.com.
All right. Well, thank you, JD. And now you guys know if you don't implement this, whether on your own or with help, you must hate money. You're leaving all that on the table. So rethink your life choices. Thanks again for being here, JD. Thanks to all of you guys for listening. If you thought this episode was valuable or entertaining, please leave a review for the show on Apple or Spotify and go do a contest. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Digital Dominance Podcast. This show is brought to you by FroBro.com. If you are a B2B service provider and you're ready to transform your website into a high-converting, lead-generating sales tool, go to FroBro.com/revive to learn more.